and I must welcome each and every one of you. And as I do so, please endeavor to tell other people as well that we are live and that we are direct. And the heaven that sent us is here to preside over our proceedings this very evening. Therefore, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good night to some of you, especially those who are under the siege, the bombardment, the torture, the abductions, the kidnappings, the murder that is going on every day in the land of Biafra. I want all of you to endure, because ultimately that is going to lead us to our freedom. We are not going back because we do not understand what retreat means, nor surrender. The only way we have to go is forward, and ultimately the very glorious land of Biafra will be ushered in our time. This very evening, do not forget your pen and your paper. For those of them of the Janjaweed disposition, do not forget your chalk and your slate. Because here we educate, here we impact knowledge, here we make sure that we connect all the right nerves and sensory organs in your body, but especially your brain. Here we are going to make sure, as I tweeted earlier, that your frontal lobe, which is the part of your brain responsible for reasoning, is connected to the rest of your body, that you may be able to do the right thing. Please go out and tell the whole world that we are live and that we are direct, and heaven is bearing us witness as always. My name is Mazen Nnamdi Kanu. I am the leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, the largest mass movement on the face of this very planet Earth. I am the director of Radio Biafra and Biafra Television, and by the very special grace of the Most High, now and forever I would remain a servant of the wonderful people of Biafra. This evening we are going to preach this very gospel that we have been asked to preach. This evening we are going to bring enlightenment. This evening we are going to make sure that some of the things that you were unable to understand nor discern, this evening will be laid bare for you to appreciate the enormity of the mess that the damnable zoological republic has fallen into. But before that, we are going to pray a very brief and a very short prayer in the language of the ancients, because our land is the very oldest habitation of man on this earth. Chineke na nke pụrụ ihe niile, Chukwu okike abịama, onye ihe niile kere eke na-agba aka ebe ịhụnanya ya na ebere ya, ma ya na ọmịiko ebe ndị ya nọ, onye anyị na-aja mma wee na-efe mgbe niile, n'ihi na ndị Igbo tụrụ ebighị ebi. Ọ bụ ugbu a ka anyị onwe anyị bụ ndị dị ndụ ghọtara n'ihe nọ n'ime aha gị nna nke ebere dị ngọzi, n'ihi na ị dịghị anwụ anwụ. Ọ bụ naanị gị bụ okike, ọ bụ naanị gị bụ mmalite na ọgwụgwụ, ọ bụ naanị gị bụ Chineke nna nwanne otu onye na-adịghị agharịpụ ndị ya, onye mmeso ọma ya na-akarị n'ime ndụ ndị niile bụ ndị iji enwe ntụkwasị obi. Ọ bụ n'ihi mere anyị ji wee dị ndụ ugbu a ruo n'ụbọchị nke taa. Ọ bụ gị onwe gị mere anyị ji wee na-eme ọnụ, wee na-anya isi, wee na-aba mba si na Biafra ga-abịarịrị. Ọ bụghị n'ike aka nke anyị onwe anyị, n'ihi na ihe ọbụla nke gị onwe gị dị nsọ dere idewe ya. Ebe ikpebiri n'ime mmụọ nna nke ebere dị ngọzi na Biafra ga-abịarịrị, onye m na Chineke nna nke igwe enwe ihe mmadụ dị ndụ pụrụ ime. Ọ bịa mere ka ha rabụ ndị kụnri wee na-ekwutọ, wee na-akọtọ Biafra nna nke igwe. Ndị dị etu a bụ ndị ji ala wee na-ezere mmiri n'ụbọchị nke taa. Onye ọwụla pụtara wee sị na Biafra agaghị adị, onye dị etu agaghị adị, n'ihi na ịbụ Chineke. Ọ bụ na-adịghị ka anyị na-efe, anyị na-efe arụsị. Anaghị m efe arụsị ọbụla nke ndị ọcha butere nna nke dị nsọ. Anaghị m efe arụsị ọbụla ka anyị na-akpụ isi ala nye. Ọ bụ iji wee na-aza anyị oku mgbe ọbụla anyị kpọkụrụ gị, wee zaa anyị oku. Anyị wee na-arịọ gị mgbaghara mmehie, anyị wee na-arịọ gị ịhụnanya gị, wee na-asị gị onye kere eluigwe maka elu ụwa, Chukwu okike abịa ma biko bịa ka i wee leta ndị gị, n'ihi na ụmụ gị na-atakwana ahụ wee na-atabighị ya oke. Ndị na-abatakwa n'ime ala nsọ bụ Biafra, onye nwe m na Chineke na kama chike isi wechụghachi azụ na mgbe gara aga, tinye ọgbaghara n'etiti ndị dị etu a. Ị ga-etinye ọgbaghara n'etiti ndị iro bụ ndị Janjaweed eze ebube dị ngọzi, n'ihi na dịka anyị si wee rie ọgha, ime ụka kasị ha wee baa ha ọnụ. Haninde ga abụ ndị alara n'iyi onye nwe m rọpụtara ụmụ gị ngwa agha nye anyị ọgụgụ isi nye anyị amamihe nye anyị ezi nghọta nna nke ebere kwa anyị ka anyị wee ghọta anya nke arara arọ nna nke igwe n'ihi na ọ bụghị ndị niile bụ ndị nwe ọgụgụ isi dịka ndị gboo si wee nwe ọgụgụ isi anyị wee na-arịọghị Chineke nna nke pụrụ ihe niile ka i wee mee ha ụbụrụ ụmụ mmadụ wee mee ha obi ha ka ha wee hụ ihe ọma nke Biafra ga-ewetara onye ọbụla na ọ bụghị sọsọ ụmụ gị bụ ndị Biafra onye nwe m kama na onye ọbụla nọ n'ebe ọbụla n'elu ụwa nka ihe ọma wee na-amasị onye dị etu ahụ nna nke ebere bikonu kwe ndị etu a wee kwe ka Biafra wee bịa ka ndị isi ojii n'ụwa niile wee hụ ihe gị na ịma mma gị n'ime ndụ ndị anyị wee na-arịọghị eze ebube dị ngozi ka iru gị wee chaa n'ebe anyị nọ anyị ekwere gị chi ọzọ ewezụga gị o nweghị onye ọzọ nke anyị na-akpụ isi ala nye ma ọ bụghị naanị gị anyị wee na-arịọ gị n'abalị nna nke ebere n'ụtụtụ ehihie abalị n'ihi na ụmụ gị gbasara ka ọgbaka n'ụwa niile ka iwe kpọkọta ndị gị n'oge niile mgbe nọ ọbụla ji alaghachi na-apụ ya dị nsọ biko nụ mere anyị amara bịa ka iwe nye anyị Biafra na ndụ na-abụrụ gị n'ọnwụ onye nwe m na Chineke nna lekwa aja niile nke anyị na-achụrụ gị eze ebube dị ngozi anyị wee na-asị gị onye nwe m na Chineke nna onye bi n'ime igwe onye ọbụla anya na-ahụ na nzuzo onye na-ahụ obi mmadụ dị ndụ nna nke igwe onye dị anya ozi nke anyị onwe anyị na-aga nara otuto niile na nrube isi niile nara ịja mma niile ịkpụ isi ala onye nwe m nara otuto n'elu otuto nna nke ebere dị ngozi ka ọ ga-abụ na ikpete m azụ ụwa niile ga-asị n'ezie na ụmụ Biafra bụ ụmụ Chineke anyị ga-aja aha nsọ gị mamata oge ma gozie onye kere eluigwe n'ụwa ugbu a mụrụ mgbe niile ebebiga a na-arịọ gị ise ọkwa n'ozi ọma Chineke ka anyị na-agbasa. We are here to preach the gospel of heaven, the gospel of truth and redemption, because as always we are incorruptible without blemish, whiter than white and whiter than snow. That is why we defend the truth with every vigor. That is why you cannot go anywhere and hear that these people at one time they derailed, because Elohim is with us. We must proceed this very evening. We must proceed to preach this very truth. I am starting this very day with a very simple warning to those of you that occupy government houses in the entirety of Biafra land. I know that your masters and your lovers in the north, the Fulani Janjaweed, I know all of you are under pressure to try to do the bidding of the oppressor, to try to do the bidding of your masters. But I must warn you and warn you very, very imminently. Hope Uzodinma of Imo State said that he has arrested over 400 suspects in Imo State alone. 400 suspects. And I want Hope Uzodinma to understand this evening that we know where you're holding them. You have converted part of Ikonso House into prison cells. And I want people all over the world to understand what we are trying to explain this evening very, very clearly. Hope Uzodinma, the Sarkin Fulani of Imo State, the Supreme Court Administrator of Imo State, imposed by Abakiari, the late Abakiari, a servant of the Janjaweed Fulani Caliphate, is arresting our people and locking them up inside government house in Owerri. Before tomorrow you start complaining and start talking your rubbish as usual, I want you to ask Hope Uzodinma if you feel that those who are arrested right now, over 400 of them in government house, including 3 pregnant women inside the Ikonso House, which is the government lodge in Imo State. 3 pregnant women are being held by Hope Uzodinma. Because tomorrow some of you suffering from the very advanced form of Hausa syndrome. I don't call it Stockholm syndrome anymore, because Hausa syndrome is even worse. When Fulani conquer you, they subjugate you, they oppress you, you wake up in the morning and you start loving them. I call it Hausa syndrome, not Stockholm. Stockholm is too foreign, too Western, it's too mild.
This AI.
Yes, Maz, I did here, but I did program. Yeah, let me just find an earphone. I'll be listening.
Okay, very good. I just want all of you to be here because we have a program with them in Igbo language. About what it is, about you could have. if we discuss this behind you, we are going to discuss it again. That's what the program means. So we don't want to do that. We want to make sure that everybody's here. So whatever we are going to discuss.
AI technology turns text into animated videos.
Agreed upon.
To speak anything you type. It is
Not joining, that is fine. I just want it.
If you are close to anybody serving in Imo State government, if you're close to any APC high-profile politician in Imo State, you must warn them and warn them tonight. Hope Uzodinma is holding our people in Communicado. These are Biafrans, some of them with no link to IPOB, no link to ESN, nothing. 3 pregnant women are in Imo State government house, Itoso house, this very day. In detention, in our land. Women born in our land, married in our land. 3 of them are pregnant. Out of, it is over 700. He's saying it's only 400. They are keeping in government house. They think we will forget them, so they can slaughter them and sell their parts, as they usually do. He has surrounded himself with Fulani Janjaweed. They have come in the guise, even including terrorists, in the guise of army and police. But we know that these are the people they call repentant terrorists. As I asked the other day during my interview, that some people have said is a landmark interview with Dr. David Masanga, I made it very clear that nobody anywhere in the world, including the British High Commissioner, can distinguish between a normal patriotic Nigerian soldier and a Fulani terrorist in uniform. Nobody can make that distinction. That is why they must all be regarded as terrorists, all of them, regardless of who they are. Because some of you have very shallow reasoning, and this evening, as I said earlier, we are trying to connect. There is a part of the brain that the other animals do not have. It is called the frontal lobe of the cranium. The frontal lobe, the part of your brain in front of your skull. It is called the frontal lobe. That is where every critical thinking takes place in a human being. Other animals do not have it. Even if they do, it is not of the same mass. The quantity is not as that you find in human beings. We are reasonable people. And I want to oppose Adema to understand that he is holding people in Communicado, holding them. You are not the law court. Sarkin Fulani of Imo State, you are not a law court. You people claim you operate a democracy. You arrest people, you don't try them. Because you know you have no case against them. That is why you cannot present them before any properly constituted court. What you do instead is to hold people, to kill them extrajudicially, and then distribute their body parts all over the world in the name of profit making. Oh, Pozadema, you are traveling with 400 soldiers, policemen, helicopters, and armored tanks. That is the life of a condemned prisoner. There is no difference between you and a high-profile prisoner on death row anywhere in America. You are exactly the same. I want you to go and see when they are moving condemned men to court in America. The high-profile ones, the serial murderers and killers. The same way you went to church yesterday is how exactly they transport murderers and killers in America. There is no difference. Armored cars, U.S. Marshals everywhere. In the case of the zoo, it is the police. Even the National Guard or the army, they come out to sometimes escort the very dangerous criminals. You went to church yesterday as the criminal that you are. And that is going to be your life as long as you live. You are holding over 400 people hostage inside the Imo State, the government house, inside the council house. You are holding them hostage because you believe they are part of Eastern Security Network or the wider IPOB family. In your stupidity and hopelessness, as your name implies, because you're hopeless, you are not hope. I want you to understand that ESN, we are in the bushes dealing with Fulani terrorists and their cattle. That is our job, and that's what we are doing. Anybody you see on the street is not and can never be ESN. Every ESN officer operative is inside the bush, safeguarding our land from the ravages and the excesses of Fulani Janjaweed Caliphate, intent on colonizing and subjugating us. And you're doing their work for them. I'm not the one that said this. This is a statement from the Imo State Chief Press Officer. His press secretary, they call him, his name is Oguwike Nwachukwu. According to the Imo State government installed by the Fulani Caliphate, their own mouth, they said over 400 people that caused mayhem or attacks in the state have been arrested and charged to court. You see the way they lie, but the courts are not working. The courts are on strike.
Step into Wix Studio.
Okay, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. I greet you according to your time zone, and I welcome you to this program. Of course, it is going to be a very brief one because I'm also attending a meeting. It is also going to be a very, very brief program because I already scheduled it. That's why I have to continue. I want you to know there is a post I made earlier on. The post about our connection with the house of Jacob. The post I made about our language pre, this lingual colonization, our name before we are called the Igbos. Like I said, it started with Hebrew. Then they changed it to Hebrew. From Hebrew to IBO. From IBO to ABCD. Then they put IBO. It becomes Igbo. Now, the reason why I want to do this is for so many of you who are actually calling yourself Ndo Menan and Ndo Ordinary, who does not know anything with regards to our history, but you are trying to bastardize whom we are. That is exactly the reason why I am doing this. Because na onye ọbụla ji ọfọ onye ọbụla ji ọfọ sọsọ naanị ọfọ ma onye ji ya. Because one thing you should understand is that the truth does not have a voice. You see the image that you see right in front of this thing that I showed you. Let me bring one of the images, which is the image I actually extracted from what you called Nsibidi, which was our alphabet, our signage, what we use to identify anything, any object, anything, hospital, human thing, place. That is our own alphabet, our way of identification and our way of writing. Pre-ABCD, before ABCD was introduced to us. Nsibidi was bastardized. Nsibidi was sent into extinction. Nsibidi was the writing of the ancients. The writing of the ancients. Let me show you something about this. Let me show you something quickly. 1 minute. Let me show you some. Let me bring the Nsibidi first. Then I'm going to show you from the ancient book, ancient Hebrew book that was written with Nsibidi. That's what I'm trying to do now. And I want you, while we are at it, I want you to make sure that you actually make a research of which countries used Nsibidi. Which countries are using Nsibidi? Nsibidi was used by Biafrans. Nsibidi was used by part of Cameroon. Nsibidi was used by Ghanaian, which is Akans in Ghana. Nsibidi was used by various countries, but most recognized people who used Nsibidi was Biafrans. Now, let me show you. Let me share this with you. Can you see what is in front of your screen? You see what is in front of your screen? Now, I want you to see. This is Nsibidi right in front of your screen. Now from here, I am going to show you something else, which is I want you to see this. I want you to see this. Do you know what is this? I don't know if you are able to see this. Can you see this? The reason why I decided to bring it in a raw book is because I don't want you to say it is what I found somewhere. There are many books. Sometimes some of them, those books, I store them online. I read them online. That is exactly what tells me my history. Now you see this. I want you to look at this. Look at this. Did you see this? This book you see today was written in Nsibidi and translated also in English, some part of English and the so-called, what you called Hebrew of today. They called it Hebrew, but it is Nsibidi. But I want to show you something. I want to prove to you something, that we are the Israelites, the original one. Now I want you to see that the letters behind this book is actually written on Nsibidi. Even the snake and the wand of Moses, it is in front of here. It is written on Nsibidi. Now, let me show you something before I will bring it to you. I want you to see this. Can you see this? I've taken a picture of it. I am going to send it to you. I believe you can see it. Can you see this? You know what is this? This is written with Nsibidi. Now let me share it with you. Let me share it with you. I want to teach you something, because I made a post earlier. Somebody told me if I can be able to prove that Nsibidi is actually connected to what we are, that he will believe me. But I want to ask those who doesn't understand it. What is Nsibidi? Nsibidi is used by us before this Latin alphabetical ABCD, ABCD was concocted, we use Nsibidi. Nsibidi. That is what we are known for. Now, I will also give you a book that you have to read that was written by one of our own very many years ago about Nsibidi and how it was bastard, how it was actually removed. Now listen attentively. You are seeing the Nsibidi signs on this my screen. Now let me show you something. Let me show you something. First, I'm going to remove. I don't know if it is going to remove this one. I want you to, if you can save this image, go to my page, Judge Money Blog, save the image you are seeing in front of your screen, save it, have it in front of your phone, so that when I bring the current image, because I won't be able to bring all of them once because of the studio I am using, so that I will show you the ancient book belonging to the Hebrews, the magic of, the magic book of Moses. The magic book of Moses, you know when it was written? Very many years ago, which you have so many theory. If you read it twice, you will go mad. I'm going to show you that that book was written with Nsibidi. Why is that book written in Nsibidi and Hebrew? Now, you will understand that that book you see today, it was written by our ancestor. It was written by our ancestor using Nsibidi, because that was what we were known when we were still known to be called the Hebrews. The Hebrews, we were known, using Nsibidi in communication, in writing, in signages, in everything. We used Nsibidi. So I want you to save this thing in front of my screen. If you go to my page, Judge Money Blog, you will be able to find the real image of this. Then save it. Let me bring this one. Share. I'm going to share it. I believe you can see what I am sharing with you. I know Facebook is going to continue to, stop us. I want you to see. Did you download? Did you download what I asked you to download? I don't know if you download what I asked you to download, the image that of the Nsibidi. And these are the ancient writings of the Hebrews, the ancient Hebrew writings. This is something they don't want you to know. If you look at a place that looks like X, I believe you can see my cursor. You can see my cursor. Let me show you something. I want you to see this place where it is like circle and a plus. Circle written on a plus. This is like life. Because nzu a ifo ndị mmadụ mụta ịtụnụ wụkwa Nsibidi ka eji atụ nzu. Ọnya nwa ife ahụ a na-ede ede, that is a communication. Ndị na-eme na fa na-atụ nzu, that is a communication. It is in Nsibidi. I want you to see this. I want you to see this, that where my cursor is. Let me show you something. Because one thing you people do is that you people do something, but you don't know what exactly you are doing. Look at it. I want you to see the sign of life. That thing you see here is a sign of life. Where my cursor is, it is a sign of life. Now, let me show you another thing you need to expect. You need to expect, because I'm going to show you from that Nsibidi that you have. I told you to download. I'm going to show you. It is called the seal. The seal, Moses, it is Moses and the angel, spirit of the seal. That is what you see, the book, part of the book. Let me show you. You see this sign of life. Let me show you another one that appears in the Nsibidi that I have. made available for you. There are many of them, but I just want it to be easy for us to, you know, uncode it. Now, I want you to see this. Okay, before we proceed, let me remove my number because it is blocking some certain things. Now, I want you to look at it. Look at it. I want you to see this thing like X. See this like X. Have you seen it? Look at this thing like X. Check the image that is in my page that is written in Nsibidi. If it is written in Nsibidi, you check the image, you look for this X, this thing like X sign, and you check what it is. Now let's go to that. Let's go back to that in Nsibidi. Let's just hold on to this. Let me just, or you take a picture of this because I'm going to remove it. I'm bringing it one after another. The software that I'm supposed to use that could enable me to bring it once, I don't know why it is not enabling me to have a broadcast. So, but I want you to see this. See this sign. See these writings. It's not sign, it's writings. That is how that was how we used to write. But recognize this one. Recognize this. This where the cursor is showing you. Now let's go back to the Nsibidi. This is ancient Hebrew book. And let's go back to Nsibidi. Now let's go. I want you to check here. I want you to check here. I believe you are seeing the sign. The sign here. The love, the sign of unity. This is unity. That was love I show you. That was love I show you in the Hebrew. That is ancient Hebrew book. You can't find that book anywhere easily. What the book I opened for you now, you cannot find it easily. You can't just find it anywhere. Now, that is sign of love. I want you to see it in Nsibidi. A sign of love. You can actually, get your own Nsibidi if you can get it completely. If you go to this side, I believe it is all the signs of the Nsibidi. If you go to this side, but it is very, very plain and simple. Let me zoom it. Let me zoom it a bit. Now I want to show you something as I zoom it. Have you seen it? Now, pay very good attention. This is Nsibidi, part of it. It is not complete. Where it is complete, it is too small. You won't be able to see it, but I want you to see here. Check here. Love. It is called love. Here is called unity. Love. Then you put the other angles. It becomes unity. Now, let's go here. Let's go here. I want to see what is connected to what I have in the book. What I have in the book. This look familiar. This look familiar to what I have in the book. Let me check it in the book. One moment. Listen to it. Now, I want you to see where my cursor is. Let me show you where my cursor is. Did you see here? It is the complete Nsibidi on the other side, which is so thin. It is so small. I want you to see that sign of life I showed you. Are you seeing this? That sign of life that I've shown you from the book. This is Nsibidi, right? This is Nsibidi. You see this sign? This sign, it is sign of life. While this is sign of death of a friend. This one is sign of a death of a friend. This is now look at this one. Look at this. Look at this. And look at this one. Now let's go back. Let's go back to the ancient Hebrew book. To the ancient Hebrew book. Let's go back to it. Now, where is... Now I want you to see. This is number one of it. This is first part of it. I showed you that. The sign of love. The sign of love. I showed you that. Let me show you now. Have you seen it here? The ancient book. Let me show you the book we are reading. It is the ancient book. It is the magical book. This is a magical Hebrew book. I want you to see. This is the sign. The first sign I showed you. The sign of love. The sign of love that is written in Nsibidi. Now, let me show you again another sign. There is a lot of them. This is very, very important if I start showing you in a real life. Now, look at this. Look at this. You will see it in Nsibidi, where you see my finger. Here, I want you to see this. And see this. And see this. If you have that Nsibidi with you, you go to the other side where the letters or the signs are complete, but it is actually so small. Zoom it and start seeing what I am showing you here. Those are Nsibidi. It is written with Nsibidi. Now look at it. These two signs. Now let me check. Let me check. Let me check something. Okay, this is Nsibidi. This is Nsibidi. I'm just trying to connect to show you a few things. I want you to see this in the book. You see this? Let me zoom it a little bit more. Have you seen this? Look at this. These are things written with Nsibidi. Written with Nsibidi. You can see my cursor. I want you to see the sign of life. This is sign of life. O ife fa na-atụ na nzu. O ife fa na-atụ na nzu. But fa na-atụ nzu fa amara ife ọ bụ. Onye pụta ọjọọsụ kọọ nke o si amara m ebe o si weta. Ọ kọọlụ gị ya. Na-enye ebe a. Na-enye ebe a. Ife ifo. Ife anwa na ọnọdụ ka ịtụ nzu. Ife anwa. These are signs, magical signs. Magical signs that Moses used. Written in Nsibidi, our ancient language before the Latin of this alphabetical called ABCD, before concussion of ABCD. Look at it. Then let's go back to Nsibidi. Now, this is Nsibidi. I want you to see. This is Nsibidi. Watch. Watch it. I want you to see the X sign. Did you see the X sign? The X sign. Let me show you. The X sign is speech. One moment. I want you to look at this. You see what they called. Did you see what is written here? Mosaics magical spirit earth. Now I want you to see that X. This is like Roman numeral. This is like Roman numeral. You understand? It is like a Roman numeral. You see those signs in the writings of the ancient Hebrew. The ancient Hebrew. Now, no, not this. Here. I hope I've shown you this. I've shown you this, the sign of life. And no, this is, I'm trying to actually, yeah, this is where I am actually trying to bring to you. I want you to see those pictures I have shown you. Download the complete Nsibidi, the signs of Nsibidi. Those of you who have access to 7 book of Moses, or if you have access to the magic of Solomon, if you have access to the magic of David, you will bring all the schemaphoras of David, you will bring all the circles of David and Solomon, a magic circle of David and Solomon. You will see that it was all written with Nsibidi. So if we are Ndibo, like so many people will tell you that we are Ndibo, believe you me, they tell you that they are Ndibo. Who is Igbo? We ask them, who is Igbo? They say Igbo is Ndibo, Okonkwo, Okafo, Okeke, Ikenga. That's what they call themselves. These people who will actually, most of them are overly educated. I actually, address them. They are overly educated. When you are overly educated, it is very, very, problematic, because you will never believe something that is actually, proven. Because how we actually find our history is not basically going to read this Western curriculum that was made available to us. Have you now seen the way I am teaching you how to connect the dot back to our ancient days? That's how you connect the dot. No matter what you are doing, there are signs, there are written, there are things that are written to us that we will use to connect whom we are, and we are in that era to connect whom we are. We are Igbos. We are called Igbos today, but it was originally called Hebrew. Somebody is telling you that the God now is Oga, that the God is called Oga. That's what they are telling you, right? They tell you that God is called Oga. So they change God. They say they change God. Now, if they change God to Oga, who is Oga? Where does Oga come from? If you believe that the man called God, the seventh son of Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel, if God is the seventh son of his, you know him as Oga, where does Oga come from? This is one thing we need to understand. Where does Oga come from? Now you ask them who is Igbo, they tell you na Igbo bu Ndigbo. You ask them where does this Ndigbo come from? They tell you that God created everything and allocated them their original place. There is no such thing that God allocated them to their original place. The only land allocated was the land, the present day land of Israel, which was called the promised land. It was called the land to settle after coming out of slavery. That was where God allocated to our ancestors to settle. And those ancestors that settled there, you find all of them in Caribbeans. You find all of them in Caribbeans, Haiti, on Barbados, all this Caribbean land. That's where you find them, because during the time of wars, and there was too many wars in the walls of Jerusalem, they started migrating from the land. They started leaving the land behind. The land was no longer fertile because they were no longer in agreement with the person or the creator who allocated that land to them. That was how they lost it. And the only person, the last person who ruled that region was called Solomon, the last leader of the land of Canaan, before the bastardization and the taking over of the land. It was our ancestor. Our ancestor, God, did not come from where he is now, called Igbo land. He located that land when the land was nothing, when the land was empty. He located the land, he made it fertile, he paid the prices in order to have yam, in order to have cocoyam, in order to have apple, in order to have all these type of crops that is actually known by Igbo people, the crop that is well known by Igbos, like yam. The sacrifice to achieve yam was very strong. You understand? The sacrifice to get all these things was made, it was very, very difficult ones before he was able to achieve all these crops. Because these people, they were still supernatural people. They were still supernatural people. Now, according to the history, God was able to, move away from Israel, from Egypt. Now, if you understand the reason why in Egypt you find only, will I call it light brown people, which are the children of the Edomites. They overthrew the land. They overthrew the black people who enslaved our ancestors in that land. They overthrew them and took over that land. And those same people who overthrew our ancestors, the same people who actually enslaved our ancestors in the land of Egypt was Hausa people, the cousins to Fulanis. They were the same people. You find them in Sudan. They were the tribe of Ham, Hamites. The only time the red tribe actually, appeared to the picture was after Isaac. That was the only time. That's why when we talk about, you tell yourself who is Igbo, they tell you, say the Igbos are Ndibo. If Igbos are Ndibo, who are the Hausas? If you call Igbos Ndibo, who are the Hausas? Hausas are also Ndibo. Who are the Fulanis? Fulanis are also Ndibo, because Fulanis were the people who gave birth to Arabs. It was just that Arabs are more white than being black, because their mother was black Fulani, their father was white man, Edomite. So that is the reason why, because the father gives name to every children. So if you understand that our own ancestral history, it is actually embedded on things, on places that you will no longer, find it worthy of researching with. That is the reason why I keep some of these books. There are a lot of them. There are a lot of them. You see, many of them. You see this. When you see this, this is another book. This is another book. I was able to actually, I was able to get it off because where you find it, I paid a lot of money for this thing that looks like tattered you see today. I paid a lot of money for it. This book bear the names. This book bear the ancient names of the angels. And there is another one which is actually in my cupboard here, which is actually, that's why I said to you, you see this book, this book you see, this one you see here, this book you see here, it has its own, what will I call it, the instruction. It has its own instruction. Before you will be able to understand this book, you must go through the instruction. Before you will be able to understand this book, you must go through the instruction. This book, everything that is written here was written with Nsibidi and now translated. And later now translated. That's it's all. You see, that's how all what this book, every page you will see it narrating it on Nsibidi before you see the text. Before you see the text. Now, if I have to read this type of book for you, you won't even understand it. Because this one is say Abba Jehovah, Agla, Askaija, Chad, Ya, Sanaiji Vardehe. Now, I want you to see. This is, I don't know if you will call this. This is ADA, ABA, Abba. Listen, look at this book. I want to show you something. Did you see this? You see where my finger is? It is Abba. 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 I want you to see it. This is ancient book. Ancient book. It is not even written in the language that you may understand. It is not written in that language you will understand. But when you read them, you will see things. You will see things that are actually familiar in our own dialect, in our own language. But the problem, you cannot decode it anymore because we have now ABCD. We have now ABCD. We are no longer using our ancient, alphabet or ancient, writings. We're no longer using it. We've lost access to it. So that is where you see, many of these things. So I will not be able to, you see, if you see the circle of Moses, this circle, it was, everything is narrated with Nsibidi. It was actually written in Nsibidi before it brings it here to analyze it. They showed you the spirit of water, spirit of air, spirit of earth, which is the element. The element, there is 4 elements. It talks about the elements that you have. He said the spirit of water, spirit of air, spirit of earth. And now we say Astoret, the Palestina familiarity. So there are many things in this that is connected to us. There are 4 elements. According to the magic of Solomon, of Moses, Solomon used the same, David used the same, and those, remember that before this, before this book, this was the book, like, is what Moses used. Magic of Moses. This is magic of Moses. That was what Moses used before the law was unveiled to him by Chukwu Okike Abiama, which now makes this book invalid. Have you now seen how this book became invalid? All this type of practicality becomes invalid after the law was unveiled to Moses. Because everything in this book, it is actually, if you handle this book, get the instruction which I have. If you have the instruction, you know that anything you are going to apply with this book, it is going to destroy disturb the equilibrium. And if it disturbs the equilibrium, you must repair the equilibrium. Any mistake, it will affect you. That is the reason why this book was abolished and the law was given. So that is why we are telling you people that all these things, you remember that even Moses dropped a wand. It is called a vand. A vand. He dropped a wand, which is the Mpala Moses. He turned to a snake, which is the reason why it is the magic of, you see the wand, Mpala Moses, you see how it turned to a snake. That is it. You see the letters there. It is called Nsibidi. What you see there is Nsibidi. That's what you see there. All those things like signs, plus sign, like A sign, C sign, all those signs, they are written on Nsibidi. It is only those who understand Nsibidi will understand this book. So that is exactly what I am trying to tell you, that we have a strong connection. In fact, we have a blood connection with the house of Jacob. We are actually always the tribe that will always wake the house of Jacob up. If I want to actually broaden this, if I want to broaden this topic, because in CBD, I can prove this in CBD connection with the ancient Hebrew writings and communications, that in CBD that we are using and some part of Cameroons are using today, it is actually written, the ancient Hebrew were written on Nsibidi. So that's when we were called Hebrew. From Hebrew, it was bastardized to Hebo. 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 From Hebo, it was bastardized to Ibo. From Ibo, it was bastardized to Igbo. Somebody is telling you that the name God was changed to, the name of God was changed to God. But that person did not want to agree that the name in Hebrew was changed to Igbo. You see the irony of it. They choose what they are going to accept and they choose what they are going to reject. That has been the problem of these people who are telling you, who are actually into history telling. That is the problem I have with them. They are not holistic about their history telling. They are not at all holistic about their history telling. Because when we tell you that we have this history, we have it, and it is, when we present it to you, you will now agree with me. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. Let me show you something. I think, let me show you something. I believe that you people know the man called Olaudah. Olaudah, the Igbo man that was sold for slavery in this, I believe, in the 17th century. In the 17th century, let me see if I will be able to bring some small thing about Olaudah. How he narrated his story. Olaudah had wrote many books. Let me do this. Just one moment. Where is this? One moment. Wait a minute. Let me bring that story of our brother, called Ola Oda, because I even we have many things. We have many ways whereby we can be able to define our history. But people become so myopic. Sorry to say that. People become so myopic. And the reason why many people become myopic, it is because they want to be the one who tells this history that they don't know. They don't know what it takes to research and talk about our history. They don't know what it takes. That we've been into this before this time. Now, let me show. I hope I still have. Yeah, one moment. Now, listen to it. All right, it's here. It's downloading. It is downloading. Now, here is it. I want you to pay attention to this thing I'm going to play.
You refer to the Lost Tribe, and as someone from Igbo tribe in Nigeria, I always hear
There are some songs here in this video, but Facebook kindly permit me to use this and address some and put the record straight. I want you to pay attention to
about
this.
we being of Jewish descendant and the Lost Tribe, but I never really take it seriously, because there's a lot of people that talk about being of Jewish descendant. So until you mentioned my tribe in your book as well, so I was wondering if you can give a background on the Lost Tribe. How did that come to be?
Okay, as you are of Igbo origin, you may have heard of Olaudah Equiano. I don't know if you heard of him. He was also known as Gustavus Vassa. In fact, he was a slave, but not only a slave. According to Equiano himself, he was born in 1745 in an Igbo village in the southwest of
1745. Did you see how long? 1745 until this date. How many years? How many century? We're in 21st century. 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. Dude, this is more than 500 years ago. More than 500 years ago. Olaudah. That is it. More than 500 years ago, that this Olaudah, our ancestor, discovered himself during slavery. He was able to tell his story to the extent of going to school and writing them in a book. I will now get to you. I will try to find, but his book is accessible. His book is made available right now. It is accessible. You can get this book. You can actually search the book online. Now look at it. Listen to this, the story of Olaudah. It is 500 years ago that the issue of Olaudah happened when he was born. 500 years ago, more than maybe 545 years ago. Listen to it.
of Nigeria, his father being an hereditary tribal chief. When he was 11 years old, he was kidnapped and sold to British slave traders who sent it everywhere, to the West Indies, etc. Over the next 30 years, while passing from master to master, he acquired many skills and traveled widely to various varied places. Equiano was an educated man, and he published a book that I recommend, The Interesting Narrative of the Life of Olaudah Equiano, or Gustavus Vassa the African. He published this book in London in 1789. This book had an immediate success and ran into several re-editions. It is both a spiritual autobiography, a slave narrative, and a travel book. Equiano, who was a Baptist, a Christian, was a pious man imbued with the text of the Old Testament. His autobiography includes a striking description of religion and culture among the Igbo. He drew parallels between the fate of the slaves and the Hebrews. He mined a trove of biblical commentary to claim that the Igbo were descended from ancient Jews, and that their religion was a modern survival of ancient biblical religion. Equiano's book spread in Nigeria and elsewhere. The idea that the Igbo, and why not other Africans, people, could descend from the lost tribe. It must be said that the exodus and the recognition of the Ethiopian Jews, identified as the lost tribe of Dan in the 1980s and the 1990s, have led to an interest in such development and in the development of similar lost tribes identity in other parts of Africa.
Did you hear that? I hope you understand what he said. Olaudah Equiano was Igbo slave that was taken, later found himself in England. And from there, he was able to have access to education, which made him to write to us. It made him to write back to us. That's why he has so many books. Let me give you the names of his book in case if you want to read. Because many of our people, when we are talking about books, it looks like we are pouring water we are actually pouring water in a basket that cannot hold water. Let me show you something. Okay. I want you to go to Ifedoba, to read the history, ifedoba.org, to read the history of Nsibidi before I get you the name of these books. You go to ifedoba.org, you read the history of Nsibidi, how Britain destroyed Nsibidi, Igbo civilization, our civilization, how they destroyed it. You go to ifedoba.org. you read it, then you will be able to understand the most importance of that Nsibidi. So now let me try to see if I will be able to check the names of Olauda's books. All right, Olauda wrote a book called he wrote Olauda Equiano, Life and the Depiction of Igbo People. Life and the Depiction of Igbo People. Olauda Equiano travels in the autobiography. Olauda Equiano as a fighter against slavery. Okay, the interest narrative and other writings. Okay. I think I have a call. I have a call. Let me take this call. Please, caller, call me on the other number. Let me call you on the other number because I'm on a meeting while I am on this program right now. I'm also in a meeting. I am also in a meeting while that's why I have earphone. That's why you feel like my attention is divided. It is indeed divided. It is. So let me see. So I think you will ease my burden.
Go to your comment center and send them in a comment.
Oh, you don't want to, you're not trying to speak. All right, all right, all right. Okay, okay. Let me check it. Let me check it. Now, I want you to look at this. Okay, born Isaka, died March 31, 1797. Okay, thank you very much, Anichie on Israel. Now let me read I believe someone sent me some stories of Olauda. Olauda Aquino, known for most of his life as Gustavus Vassar, was a writer and abolitionist. According to the memoir, he was from the village of Esaka in modern southern Nigeria, enslaved as a child in Africa. He was shipped to the Caribbean and sold to a Royal Navy officer. He was he died in the month of March 31, 1797, in the city and liberty of Westminster. Spouse Susanna Cullen, 1792 to 1796. Children Joanna Vassar, Anna Maria Vassar. Nationality America, British, Nigeria. America, British, Nigeria. That is actually the biography of Olauda. It is more than 500 years ago that this man was writing. And if you listen to the main story of Olauda, he said that when he actually was in Alibo, in the Hebrew land, which is called Alibo today, when he was there, what happened is that when he gets to actually, read about the Israelite, he read about the Israelite. He saw the culture of Israelite. He saw everything concerning the Israelite. Remember 500 years ago, informations are still available. Olauda said that he was able to actually bring the culture and the ways of life of the Israelites to the ways of his own and his own father, that they worship the way we worshipped. They do the same thing. We are not talking about this modern day. We are talking about 500 years ago, when he was actually, writing about himself and where he come from. When he was exposed to the culture of Israelites, he said that everything that the Israelites are doing, the same way they do it, the same way they do their stuff, is the same way his own people are doing their stuff. Go and research about Ola Oda. Then you will know what we are talking about. It is not a coincidence. It is not a coincidence. Ola Oda, he is our own brother, Igbo brother. They say the trace back was brought him to the southeastern Nigeria. Southeastern Nigeria. That's where he come from. But it is very, very important for you to understand that we are the Israelites. If there is anybody who tell you that they are professor of history, if there is anybody who told you that they are Ndibo, if there is anybody who is telling you that they are history tellers, and they see that what I am saying is a lie, let them come on a live program. Let's challenge each other with this knowledge. Let us actually have a debate. Because the reason why I am coming out in this dimension is because there are many conflicting information, misguiding information that people are using. Sometimes it is used for, stealing from our people or exploiting our people. Sometimes it is used to malign our history consciously. Sometimes people are just ignorant of the fact of the what they are actually teaching people. You understand? So that is the reason why I am calling on any of these people who claim they are history and storytellers to come. Let us have a live, a live session about the history of Ndibo. Let us have a live session that he will tell me, because there are many of them. If you read through the comments of what I had this broadcast, you will understand that some people will tell you we are Ndibo. We are Ndibo. God created every place and planted Ndibo in it. They are original. Then they will take you to the Garden of Eden. They tell you that, do you believe that Adam and Eve was the only man God created? Of course. They were even they were people. The trees in the Garden of Eden, they are human beings. So that is the tree of good and evil. So when they are telling you, do you think it's only Adam and Eve is the only man that God created? Tree is a human being, life. Tree signifies life. Fruit signifies, sperm. Seed signifies childbirth. That's what you must know. So when Eve decided to go somewhere else, that is the reason why you people should understand that n'ụwa anyị nọ na ya, mmadụ bụ ekwensu. Mmadụ bụ ekwensu. N'ụwa anyị nọ na ya, mmadụ bụ ekwensu. And onye ka Chukwu ka o ji dị ka Chukwu a na-akpa oke. Maka na Chukwu kelu mmadụ, ekwensu bịazịa si na mmadụ kekwuo onye nke ya. Onye nwe Chukwu ji destroy ya ụwa anụnwa during the time of Noah, hoping to eradicate, to reduce the evil. And the evil still came through the lineage of Noah. From the lineage of Noah, he decided to choose Abraham. From Abraham, remember before Abraham, Egyptians was. Are you aware? Before Abraham, Egyptians was. Before Abraham, some of Ethiopians were. Before Abraham, Abraham was actually the seed of Shem. Shem, the brother of Cush, the brother of Ham. Abraham came from that seed. God chose among the three of them. God chose the Shem. From Shem, Abraham come forth. Now from the seed of Abraham, God chose Jacob, which is he named Israelite, and called them his own people. and called them his own people. We are region. We are actually legion. We are legion. You see the house of Israelite, the 12 tribes, we are too much. That is the reason why if you see any black man, if you see any black man, you should actually love them. You understand? Because you don't know who is your brother. You should love them. Any black man, you should love them. We know, but we should actually differentiate black people from ndị na-akpọwa ilu, those who are putting themselves mark. And we know that we know the Ethiopians today, we know the Fulanis today, we know the Hausas today. We know where they come from. But all those that you don't know where they come from, at least give them respect, give them love. I'm not saying you shouldn't give love to those ones I'm talking about. But anybody that is a black, you should love them because it might be your brother. It might be your brother. Except if you know where they come from. That is it. It is very, very important that we know who we are. We know where we come from. We know how, what our ancestors did that made them fail. We must know. If we cannot know it, we are not going anywhere. We should not start telling history for the sake of history telling without understanding the importance of this history. Spirit cannot wake up and start telling you history. You must know something before that your mind will start analyzing it, because that is your mind analyzing something that you are exposed to. Your mind can never analyze something you are exposed to. Are you paying attention? Your mind can never analyze. Some people tell themselves that the mind analysis becomes spirit telling them something. That is one thing you should understand. We are Israelites. We were called the Hebrew. The Hebrew. We were called the Hebrew before the Hebrew, before the Igbo, before the Igbo. And from the introduction of ABCD that replaced Nsibidi by Britain. Britain destroyed our everything, destroyed our civilization, destroyed everything that we do. It is very, very important that we understand exactly what we are doing. Very, very important we understand where we are going. We shouldn't always try to do something because we believe that we can do it. We can't. Okay, somebody say he's willing to go live with me. And now, I don't know if you want to come in right now. Let me see if I can share the link. But I don't know if I am going to be able to have somebody right now, because I'm also in a meeting. That's why I'm having a divided attention. But let me share a number rather. Okay, let me see if I can share a link. Maybe you can come in, but if I don't give you all my attention, but you can still come in. This is the link. I'm sharing it. So the link is there. Link is there. Isaiah Heat or Isaiah Height. The link is there on the comment section on Facebook. So if you wish to come in, you can come in and tell us what you know. And all right, yeah, if you wish to come in, Isaiah Height, you can come in and tell us what you know. But I want to continue. 1 minute. All right. I'm still waiting for you, Isaiah Height, because basically I want to contribute on the meeting which I am also attending. Otherwise, we can schedule whenever you want to, so that you will go and be prepared, because I don't want you to come unprepared or you are here.
How you doing, brother?
Good, how are you?
Oh, doing good, doing good. All praise to the Most High. I want to say free Namikano as well.
I think be more audible, please.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. My hair is not done, man. I always been listening to you for a while, man. Back when you broadcasted on IPOB Rapture Media. So I like what you do, brother, and much support. And I'm on here not to argue with you at all, but just to build with you, like the scripture says, "Come, let us reason together."
Yeah. Please introduce yourself before, so that we will be able to know whom we are speaking to, please.
Yes, my name is Isaiah. Last name is Height. I'm
Hi.
of course, I'm an African in the diaspora, born in the diaspora, and the Most High have had me told me to look towards Africa about maybe 15 years ago, and I started studying. And when I started understanding the history of my forefathers that went into slavery, some of them were taken from Haiti and brought here to America. Some of them were brought from Africa to Virginia, where most of the Igbos were taken. Uh, so when I started looking into our history, I began to grow a lot more, in that search for the truth, and understanding that we have been lied to, So of course, when it comes to our people in Biafra land, the Igbos, of course, our people are the people who they call Israelite, but that term was not what our forefathers were called. We weren't called Israelite. That's just a term from what I found that the white man has created new terms. That's what they do. They like to rename things as they see fit, not by broad consensus of the world coming together and saying anything. It's just them categorically saying, do what white supremacists do. They just come and make a new name and say, you're this now. Or if they want to take away from your history, the way they did it was by renaming things. Like they went in Africa and renamed things today that are still renamed those things. Namikano, he touches on how certain places in Igbo land will rename things, and it doesn't make any sense. And in the same way, that's what they have been doing for a long time, not just the white man, but the Arabs as well. So where they say in the scripture where if there's a scripture that speaks about Abram when he left out of Egypt. And it says, and Abram left up out of Egypt with everything he had and Lot with him going south. And then it says that he continued going south. And so Abram, he didn't go north going to back to his land where the meeting tent had been originally. He went south out of Egypt. And when we pull up the map, you go south from Egypt, you can never get to what they call the land of Israel today. So he went south, and then so now let's fast forward, and our people's migratory pattern, which we can all look up, our migratory pattern was from Egypt going down, and we spread going all the way down as far as South Africa. That's where you'll find people with the same exact DNA as us, with the same similar history, coming from maybe a different forefather. Like for instance, when we speak about South Africa, we can mention the Ngoni. You can see right there the descendants of Naphtali. One of their sons' names was Guni, and Abu Nguni, which means the people who do not commit sins. So when you look at their migratory patterns and their kings, one of the kings of the Igbo kingdom, when they speak about the history, they speak of us leaving Egypt, which our people in Igbo land have the same history, that they were in Egypt, and that Eri left Egypt with a band of people with him. And when he left Egypt, he then built the temple of Eri, which is still there, which I believe the monarch is still on the throne this day, that's named Eri. He built that with his own hands. So he couldn't have built that with his own hands if he was in the northeast. Biafra is part of the Holy Kingdom, of the Holy Land. But what they have done is take our history, which has happened in sub-Saharan Africa, and in the attempt to remove from us the significance of our history, they rename things in different locations. And so, for instance, like we can look into South Africa today and we can see that in South Africa today, you'll find the Jordan River. But they never told nobody about a Jordan River in South Africa. But that's the Jordan River that John the Baptist was baptized in. And then when you look on the ancient maps that say that have the name Biafra on those maps, if you look at the surrounding areas in the territory, which is now called Nigger area, if you look over there in the area where Zamfara is, you will see that it's listed as the wilderness of Paran. So then when you look up Paran in the scripture, you'll see that this is the wilderness of Paran that it was talking about in the scripture. And that's the reason why it's named that today, Paran. And it even lists that there was gold there even on the map, which we know that they're illegally mining gold in that region, right? Now, when it comes to, so what they did was, even the story of Babylon, right? What we haven't done was use the reason that Namdi Kanu speaks about. When we go through these scriptures, we have to use the spirit of logic and the spirit of reason in going through this stuff, because we know whose hands these scriptures have been in. And we see, like the scripture says, you know a tree by its fruit. And we've been able to see their fruit. And their fruit is evil, and it's deception, and it's lying, stealing, and killing. And that's just what we have seen. And that's what they want to continue to do, is to continue to lie, steal, and kill. So now with Babylon, Nimrod was the person who invented or who built Babylon, right? Nimrod was the son of Cush. Cush was the son of Ham. The land of Cush was not in what they call the Levant today. Nimrod ruled on the throne of his father in his father's land. And he ruled in a place which is known today.
I think we are losing you. I think we are losing you. Your voice is shaking. Your voice is shaking. I'm not sure what.
Better now? Let me see.
I think I have to mute myself. Let me mute myself. Then I come in. Let me see if it's going to be clear.
Okay. Can you hear me? Okay. So Nimrod was the son of Cush, and the land of Cush is in what we know today as Sudan. Right there, it's one of the places that Nimrod built. It was known as, in the scripture, they say Shinar, S-H-I-N.
We are still having that sound. Are you using a earphone?
Yes, I'm using my phone. Let me see if I can get my head.
I think if you are using earpiece, I think you should I think we are losing you. I think it is connection. We are losing your connection there. We lost you. I believe that you will have to come back, because there are some certain things you need to. I need to ask you some certain questions as well. I believe that you will have to come back. You will have to come back, because there are some things you are saying that we need to actually clear up. I believe you still have the link. If you still have the link, you can actually come in. So, while we are talking about this, remember that Mazen Nnamdi Kanu told us that Biafra is a beacon. It is going to be a light that people from the Caribbean, people from the North American, people from all over the place, they are going to look for that light and they are going to find it. And those areas that he mentioned, there are the real, the true sons of Jacob. They are the bloodline. They are all the bloodline. Where the bloodline is found, those are the places he mentioned: Caribbean, which is around South America, Barbados, Grandela, or there are many countries that is named Caribbean. Even in the North American, like my brother that is actually my guest here. I believe he is from North America because the accent shows that he could come from North America. I wish he will come back and we will hear more from him because it is very, very important. I wish he could come back so that we will hear more from him. Mr. Isaiah Hyde. Oh, don't you see the link again on the comment section? The link is still on the comment section, brother. Well, let me resend it. I resent the link again. So check your comment section. The link is back. Yeah. You can pick up the link. It is there. Yeah, while we are waiting, we are still in the history that connects us with the children of Jacob, with the to the children of Jacob. So our brother is back. So you're welcome back. I believe you are better now. I can.
Okay. So
You were
that
talking
place
about
that
Nimrod, the this child of Ham.
yes sir, yes sir. So you have Nimrod, who's the son of Cush. Not and that land of Cush is what we know today. If you look it up, they go on Google and type in the kingdom of Cush, Sudan. It was in the Sudan that the real Babylon was. Now, where in the scripture they say that Nimrod built Shinar, the city Shinar.
Wasn't it in Ethiopia?
It was it was it wasn't Ethiopia. It wasn't Ethiopia. It was Sudan, the Sudan. And that's
Okay.
why in the Sudan today, in the scripture where they say that Nimrod built Shinar, the city Shinar, Shinar, but it's there in Sudan and it's known as Sinar. And that's why you will find more pyramids in the Sudan than you will in Egypt. But they don't talk a lot about it when it comes to those pyramids.
Have you been to Sudan?
No, I haven't been to Sudan. I'm from North America, so you know.
Now, from the accent, I could tell that you're from the North America.
Yeah. I'm from North America, but I keep up with everything with Biafra, and once the Most High started to begin to connect the dots to me, and Nnamdi Kanu helped me to put a lot of things in perspective and to start to really use the logic and reason behind the stories and to listen to the migratory patterns of our different people in the different parts of Africa. And I found that they all say the same thing, that they all say that we left from Egypt and we came down here. Now, there was two different migratory patterns because some of the tribes went into Babylon. And there's the story that they entered into the Euphrates River when they left. Now, remember that the borders were nothing like what we imagine borders are today. When we talk
Okay, before we proceed, there is a question I want to ask you. Do you believe you have a bloodline with Abraham, the son of the descendant of Abraham, which is Jacob.
Yes. So when it's we don't know Abraham. This is a changing of the name, the addition of the name Ham onto a.
Yes, but we
But
are
yeah,
using that name in order
yeah.
for us to be able to,
So other people can
depict,
understand. I understand that.
yes, what we
But
are
yeah,
talking
we do,
about. Yes,
we do know that we come from Abram, Isaac, which is Isaka, and Jacob or Jacob,
Jacob. Yes,
which means in our people's languages throughout Africa, the firstborn. But when you
yes.
look at the English translation, they say that the name Jacob means hill supplanter. So you can see that the people that came with these definitions and the changing of the words, they were not the friends of Jacob. They didn't like him. That's why they gave the definition of his name as supplanter. But the scripture said that Jacob was Israel is my firstborn. But then they're saying in the definition that he's a supplanter. He stole something. He's a thief. That's what they're coming with in the definitions. These people that translated the scriptures, right?
But let me interject there. When they talk about Jacob stealing something, what do you really believe he stole something?
No, he didn't steal
He never
anything.
stole something. It was sold to him, right?
He never stole anything because
It was
the
trade by
birthright was,
barter.
the birthright was his while he was in the womb. He was the firstborn, and that's the reason why, even in the Yoruba language, the name Akobi means the firstborn.
Yes, because there is a culture I was following. There is a culture I was following from the Sadiq region of Africa, where they actually see the last person to come out of the womb
Mm-hmm.
as the firstborn,
Mm.
because he was ushering the little one out first. You
Yeah.
understand? So
Yes.
there is a culture, and I believe this culture is a bit, maybe it's in South Africa. It is a culture where people believe that the person that comes out last between, during a twin's birth, the last one is always the elderly one because he waited for the little one to come out first. So
Yeah.
I don't know if it is the analogy you are using there.
No. What I'm saying is from the beginning, like before they were even before before the Most High created the heavens and the earth, he knew that he had chose Jacob at that time. Before the earth was created and the foundations were laid, he had already chose Jacob and that he was going to save him and redeem him.
True. I believe you.
So the whole story of this whole thing, but once again, we have to always remember whose scripture these scrolls hands were in. These people are liars. They're liars, thieves. They don't do anything honestly. There's nothing that they have that they gained honestly. They have a particular talent, and their talent is in evil. No one can steal better than them. No one can lie better than them, and no one can kill better than them. And this is just a fact.
What did God say that the devil come to do?
Lie, steal, and destroy. Lie, kill, and destroy.
So
And
it,
that's
it explains itself. We don't need to actually give it a name.
exactly. The other migratory pattern was our brothers that were in Sudan. So that's why you'll find other tribes in sub-Saharan Africa. They'll say, we came from the Sudan and we traveled to the location where we are. You'll find some of them in Ghana and so on and so forth. And they say we came from the Sudan and then we stopped off in what we know as Nigeria. We stopped off in Ife, and then we traveled along through and so on. And some stopped and stayed, and so on and so forth in these different regions. And remember that it said that some of the 10 tribes that they decided not to go back to the place where they were taken from and sent to Babylon, but it says that they entered into the Euphrates River and chose to go to a new place where mankind had never dwelt, right? Now, They never told you that the Euphrates River on an ancient map that says Biafra on the map, it shows the Euphrates River as a tributary to the Benue River,
To which river?
the River Benue.
Benue.
Yes. So it shows that everything that even the place that they say Sodom and Gomorrah was, you'll see right in Africa, you can see the locations and they're still named, they still kept the original names by chance. For instance, you have what is that? Um, let me pull it up real quick. Give me 1 second, brother.
What about Ethiopia?
So Ethiopia is one of the Kushite kingdoms. So we warred with the 12 different Kushite empires. And not only that, we were there. You got to remember that when we were, before Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers, according to the scripture, right? There were other people who the children of Israel were intermingling with and marrying. As a matter of fact, Judah's first wife was a Canaanite woman, which was another type of African person, right? Another black person. So they interbred and intermingled with people in places where they stopped at, even though, according to the scripture, they weren't supposed to do so, right? And so some of those people, when certain migratory patterns happened, right, everybody didn't always decide to leave or to stay. And some people even would learn the truth, like we know in ancient Biafra land, how priests would go out and people would learn, right? So, and certain people would convert over. And so there's a reason why you see the resemblance between the Ethiopian Orthodox Church and the Roman Catholic Church. What we have to question and what we have to be suspicious of are the dealings with these tribes that we know historically had issues with the children of Israel in the scripture, and what were their relationship with the white people? Why do the Ethiopian Orthodox dress the same way as the Roman Catholic Church? Who are those people that you got your scriptures from? Tell us who they are today. So they don't speak on things, and also they're not honest. Each one of them says they have the Ark of the Covenant in their church.
Remember that Ethiopians dealt with our people. Are you aware of that?
Yes, I remember how the young Ethiopian boy was to the Biafran. I think it was in the 60s, and the Biafran, he was very educated. He was very smart, and the Ethiopian dude tried to speak about how they're the children of God and so on and so forth, and he was very arrogant and he was unbrotherly uh, to the brother. So you have some Semitic tribes there. You have a remnant of our people there, right? People that
Yes, we
share.
have the remnant of our people there, the Naphtali. I think the Dan or the Dan.
So the Dan, that's the Dan tribe, and they also go by the name of Dan Yakuba, and that's where that African Dan mask that everybody buys here in America. They're the ones that that make that particular mask. They know as a Dan mask, right? As well as what's that? Some of the ancient kingdoms in Africa. What's that? Man, it's right on the tip of my tongue.
Is it Mali?
Not Mali, but man, it means in the belly of Dan. What is that, man? It'll come to me later, brother. We'll have to build, man. I'll give you my number, man, because there's so much. There's so much stuff, and there's so much stuff that I
I
can
know
share.
you weren't prepared. I know you weren't prepared, but I think we have to actually prepare
Yes, brother.
to actually, to establish these connections and connecting of the dots. We need to prepare very well because we are, these things we are talking about is quite sensitive.
Yeah.
If your consciousness is not actually, awoken, you won't be able to actually, believe that. Because remember that the reason why Jesus is white, God is white, everything good is white, and everything evil is black, it is only because they don't want us to ever see ourselves as something good. We
Yeah.
look down on ourselves.
Yes.
So that's exactly the reason why. And I believe okay, hold on for me. There is somebody who has called in.
Okay.
Don't you want to come in with the link, Mazi? Izu? All right, all right. What we need to do? Okay, let me put him on loudspeaker. I want him to just say something because
Hello?
before we
Um,
come back to you.
hello?
Yes, go
Can
ahead,
I
brother.
continue?
You are live and direct now.
Okay, thank you for inviting one of our brother that want to help us to bring the truth. Like he was talking about Dan, that there is a tribe in the Ghana called Dambe.
Dan Dambe.
Dambe.
Do
They
you
are
know about
tribes
that
of
tribe?
Dam. Yeah,
Yes.
from
So
Ghana, from Ghana.
God and Dan.
Dambe. And they also you can hear about Akan in the book of Judges. Akan.
Akan. Yeah.
Akan, they are from tribes of Judah also. They are a part of the Judah tribe. And there is some tribe in Ghana too, Ewe tribe, they are part of the Levi. And you can see some of our Levi in Cotonou, in so many places like in the Caribbean island where you can see these people, Haiti people also. And even in what is the name of this place in South Africa, there is some of our tribes also in South Africa today. So all these things, anybody that want to argue something, let the people say that they are doing the South. Let them go to the Egypt today. They will see all the people that they carry to slave in Egypt. The drawing is still there and showing that Egypt
Inside
they
the
are black.
pyramid. Yes,
And
inside the pyramid.
inside, yeah. So no matter how lie people can lie, that pyramid can hold anybody responsible because people think they are wiser than God. That make Egypt and Israel always Egypt and Israel, always Egypt and Israel. And our ancestors established everything that you see in Egypt, make Egypt to be great through slavery. So if anybody want to doubt anything, let him go to that Egypt and see who are the people that was slave in Egypt. Who are those people?
Yep.
Because it's still in the pyramid till today.
Yes. Yes. Also, think
Hold
about.
on. Yes.
Okay.
You say what?
I said also, all we have to do is use reason, and we'll see what is the land.
Hold on. Let me hear you. Okay, yeah, you can come in. I think the noise is stopped.
If we use logic and reason, we can easily come to the understanding of where is the land of milk and honey. What is the most valuable land on the earth? If anyone could do an NBA draft for land and no one owned anything and it had to be a draft, and the person with the first pick in that draft, the first place he's going to pick is he's going to pick sub-Saharan Africa. He's going to pick it. Why? Because everything that is good is in the land. That's the land he gave to Shem, that Shem drew by Lot. It had the garden in it. This is the reason why the Congo has 30% of the world's mineral natural resources in it alone, not to mention South Africa, Biafra land, Yoruba land, artwork and all these things, and in colonization. They weren't taking that artwork because they wanted art. They were looking for things like the Ark of the Covenant. They were trying to get the most spiritually significant things that they thought may bring an advantage to them.
Makes sense.
So when they would find an artifact, let's say they found it in Biafra, the British found it in Biafra, or they found it in South Africa, They'll then later, 20 years later, they'll say, oh, new discovery in Israel. When you're dealing with the devil, his lies are going to be fantastic. They're going to be set up.
So basically, your argument is that the land of Canaan might not be the allocated land to the children of Israel.
So the land of Canaan is just speaking about, Canaan is only one particular region in the Holy Land. That's part of the southern kingdom, which is far in South Africa. That's the land of Canaan. Every area was in Canaan. In the scripture, we find fragments of stuff. The Most High allowed them to do some things and didn't allow them to do some other things. Only through the spirit of discernment are we able to then, if the Most High allow us to get some truth, and by those bits of truth, we're able to build because He's left gems in history and through our people's history. For instance, in Igbo history, He left gems there where if we use reason, it'll knock the lie down. Like Eri built the palace, Gad's palace. Eri built it with his hands. So he couldn't have been in the northeast Israel.
So you
Otherwise,
believe that Igbos are the descendant of Israel?
yes. So I believe from my understanding and my studies, I've found that you will find some of all 12 tribes among the Igbo in what they call Nigeria today. Predominantly, the kings are going to come from Eri, the descendants of Eri, because that's the land that Eri was allotted by the Most High. That was Eri's land in that region. So the kings and the monarchs are mostly Eri kings, though you'll find some from the descendants of Oreli, which I believe those are those who dwell in Erochukwu. And then you'll find Arodi, Arodi in Erochukwu, and then Oreli in the hinterland. And
Yeah.
then when you go south, say you're in South Africa, you're dealing with those that are the descendants of Naphtali, including the Zulu, which is not
Naphtali.
You're dealing with those which are the descendants of Naphtali, which you have KwaZulu Natali, right?
You can continue. Go ahead.
So we had a kingdom, a huge kingdom with everything good in it. We moved from we traveled through it as we seen fit. Now, there was a people that were in the land because their land was in our land. Remember there in the beginning, in Genesis, it says, and Japheth will dwell in the tents of Shem, right? So Japheth, according to the scripture, Japheth was supposed to be dwelling in the same land as his brother. Now, Japheth was allegedly the same brother when Ham had uncovered his father's nakedness or looked upon his father's nakedness, that walked in the tent backwards to cover his father's nakedness, right? So now those two brothers that did that together, they're going to dwell in the same land. But when we look at, that's what the scripture said, but when we look at how it really played out in real life, we see that it wasn't the descendants of Japheth that were in the land with Shem. We see that it was the descendants of Ham, who are the Canaanites, which were there. You will even see, I will send you later, brother, the documents from South Africa that say that South Africa is also known as Canaan, the land of Canaan.
So it's also part of the land of Canaan.
Yeah, so South Africa is it was known as the part of the land of Canaan in that region. So that was so everyone started off in the Congo. Then from South Africa and so on and so forth, and then through us being taken, we had so Biafra land was in the northern kingdom of the Holy Land, part of the northern kingdom. But in the destruction of our land was the history. And like I said, we've gone through unending wars from people that hate the Most High for over 1,000 years. Different things have been going on with Arabs to white people to the world being against us, just like how the world was against our people in the Biafra, in the war in Biafra. So like Nandi kind of says, we have many enemies, and this thing that they've done, it's the work of a craft of a someone that's a specialized craftsman. You know, these people, this is what they do, and that's what they've been doing, and we're not dealing with just flesh and blood because we know naturally they cannot compete with us, but we're dealing with spirits and principalities, and that's what these people they've given into the wicked spirit. The way the Most High made it was this. So remember, it says he. It says you know a tree by its fruit. Now let's look at the fruit. So we know that there were three brothers, Ham, Shem, and Japheth. One of the brothers did something sexual or immoral to the father, to where the father wanted to curse the grandson, right? So now let's forget these names that they've told us, and let's only use spiritual discernment on which brother, who would be the descendant of the brother that wanted, because after he did the sexual immoral act to his father, he didn't keep it a secret. He went and he advertised it to his brothers what he had done. That's how his brothers knew what had happened to go and cover their father. Because one of the brothers advertised the sexual or immoral act that he done to his other two brothers. Who would be the descendant of that brother that would advertise sexual immorality? And we know why that brother got the worst inheritance. He got the lands that have the least natural resources. And so naturally, if he followed law and if he followed the way of God, he would be the poorest man in the world due to his inheritance. And he rejected that inheritance. So he goes and he steals and kills for other people's resources, which he wasn't blessed with in his land. And so that's why it's imperative of us coming together and us building, because what they want to do is keep us divided from each other. My people here in America, they never want us to go home. They never intended for us to be able to make it out. We were never given a choice if we wanted to return home or not when they said slavery ended. They said slavery's over, and then they went back to my home, they went to my land, and they colonized and enslaved us in my land, but they told me slavery was over. So we're still very much in it, but now is the time when we're able to actually speak with each other in a way that we've never been able to in history. And I guarantee you, they're regretting the technology which is coming out because we're taking advantage
That's
of it.
right. That's right. Tell me about before I bring my brother here. Tell me about the Red Indians.
So the Red Indians, they are not our people. The Red Indians, they have nothing in common with us. Every bit of the technology, about 90% of the technology that the world enjoys and which fuels the economy of the world, our people created it. Igbos, Bantus, people from Ghana, our people from the people that were taken from the Holy Land, they created every bit of this technology. But the Indians didn't create anything. You never heard of an Indian heavyweight champion. You never heard of an Indian dude being the fastest man in the world. You never seen the Indian Michael Jackson, Whitney Houston. You never seen the Indian Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant, Shaq. You never see them do anything like us because we're not the same. You know, like that saying, the
You
blood.
you know the Red Indians, like the Native American, Native of America.
Yes. Yeah, what
Who
I'm
are
saying is those are not our people. As a matter of fact, they had our people in slavery in this very land. And the only reason why they freed us, they never wanted to set us free. The only reason why they freed us was because the white man here in America told him, he said, look, we're not going to allow those black people to build up your land. So if you don't free them now, then the deal that we're making with you, it's off. So they were forced to set the slaves free. They never planned on, we were always two different people. We never looked alike. Our language, their language is not a sub-Saharan language, does not have anything in common. No tribe. See, one thing about our tribes in Africa is our memory is long because we pass down the history to our children. And it's a very important thing, our culture, right? In Africa.
what about Brazilians?
The Brazilians, a lot of the Brazilians are our people because most of the slaves were taken into Brazil. But you have a multiplicity of ethnicities there in Brazil. And a lot of them have been interbred with to the point of unrecognition. And so when it comes to those who have been bred beyond the point of recognition, we have to be suspicious of them because we know what's inside their blood. It's like, you don't want your daughter to marry in a family full of criminals.
Yeah. Because it's better. That's what the Muslim they say. A Muslim man can marry a Christian woman, right? Because a woman does not have a religion, because it is a patriarchy.
Hmm.
A woman does not have a religion until they get married. So, but a woman can never marry a Christian man.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I believe that there is a lot of interracial marriages, because once your daughter goes out of the bloodline and get married, your daughter is no longer in the bloodline,
And you
right?
know what? I had to go ahead and look in my ancestry, and see what was there. Because finding out what I was finding out, I'm like, yo, please, God, please don't let me be breeded out of my people, right? And so
Yeah.
I find a couple women. There was one, and a Hispanic woman, and then one woman but both on it was only females, two females on my great grandfather's wife's side. Other than that, no intermixing. And then most of our people, most of our people don't have the native blood, because it was even against the native Indian law in the Indian territory here in America for them to interbreed. Not saying that it didn't happen, but it was against the law, and you get killed. The native Indian guy would face severe punishment for interbreeding with a black person, even in the native land. And so the natives are not the same thing. They tried to enslave the natives here in America before they came to Igbo land, before they came to Africa, and start enslaving us there. But the difference was that the native Indian, when he was put into captivity, he would he wouldn't make love. He wouldn't have kids. He wouldn't work. As soon as he was given the opportunity, he would kill himself with the first opportunity he was given. But see, with us, we would breed. We
You
would go out and
endured.
work, and we would build a whole nation. The native Indians haven't built anything. They haven't built anything. That they don't create technology. They're not inventors. They're not. What music? Tell me what music the native Indians created.
So you mean those Indians there, they are like the Indians from Asia.
So the native Indians here are the same. They're closely related with Asians and white people.
Oh, okay. But they
You know,
are, what type of lifestyle do they have?
the native Indians here, I mean, most of the men when you go to a reserve, if you go to an Indian reserve, you're not going to see it built up. Like nobody's going like, oh yeah, like Indian land, it looks so good. Like no, like they have their land, and they don't build anything on it. Nobody's stopping them from making it look nice, but you don't see anything great on it. You don't see anything.
Why are they called the red?
They're called Indian because white people, they just come up with names for
They
people.
are called the red. The red.
Yeah, so that's just what the white man, that's just what the white man decided to call them for whatever reason he wanted to call them what he wanted to call them. But
Don't
those
you think there was a cross interracial marriages that made them red? Because the
some
white
folks
people are
already,
called red according to the scripture.
yeah. So you had certain ones, right? You had certain ones which were uh already Asian, Mongol type, Indian, I mean Asians, right? And then you had certain ones which are actually African in origin, like the Khalifa Indians, who California is named after. Now they came from the Holy Land in Mali. Now those were actually black people, and the history of them has been hidden. But those native Indian tribes that we see today, Apache, Choctaw, and all that stuff, they are not us. They are not our people. They are an enemy. They have historically been an enemy of our people, and they're not our ally. When we're trying to get to freedom, they align themselves with the white man against us continually.
What about the Caribbeans?
The Caribbeans, there are people. You're gonna find some from all the different 12 tribes everywhere that were scattered because the 12 tribes were scattered together. They all were on that ship, packed like sardines together.
It
But
was
though
bad.
it was bad, and so
Michael Jackson bad.
yeah. So the problem that we're having is that we have certain groups here in America. These groups have many Judases among them. Remember, Judas took the bag. He took the money. We know all about people that sell out, like Simon Experiment, right? Like Simon, people that sell out, that take the money, right?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So these
Are you
guys,
talking about Simon Berima?
yes,
Yeah, yeah,
that
yeah, yeah,
clown.
yeah, yeah.
So,
Oh, you know about him as well.
oh, I keep up with everything that deals with Biafra. I
Come on.
keep up with everything. I got to support DOS, man. You already know, man.
Come on. That's great. That's great. That's
So you
great.
have certain sellout people, man, you know, and they've been paid by the fake Israelis, by the Jews. Now they are Jews. We're not Jews. We're evils. We're Bantu. We're some we the names that we have, right? Those are the names, like Chukwu. That's the name, not God. See, these are we all the names, all our names. They try to say we're evil. They want to separate you from it.
But I want you to tell me before I bring our brother Israel. I want you to tell me, what do you think Israel was called? If you are saying the Israel that is written is not, you believe, I believe according to your own, philosophy, you believe that the names were actually changed. Why do you think the names were changed?
The names were changed because some of those names,
Was it changed or was it translated as well?
that's part of the meaning of translation. You know what I mean? Like for instance, Namdi Kanu, his name is Namdi Kanu when I speak English. So if I want to translate his name, I've effectively changed his name. You see what I'm saying?
His
And then
name is Nnamdi Kanu when you speak the vernac of the Biafrans.
yeah, there's no need for me to translate anything. You see what I'm saying?
Yes, there is no need for you to translate it. Yes. But
You, I,
even if you translate it, it is still going to mean the same thing, right?
if I honestly translate it, but we haven't been dealing with honest people. That's the thing.
Definitely. Definitely. You're right. But the name Israel, you believe that it was
I believe that
actually, something was done to it.
yeah. So all you gotta do is if you break down the word Israel, you have Isis, Ra,
Mm.
and El. That's their stuff. That has nothing to do with Chukwu.
Israel.
Uh-huh. Isis, Ra, and El. Three different deities. That has nothing to do with Chukwu. That has nothing to do with Modimo. That has nothing to do with Sonini Nanini, which means I am that I am. See, we have a thing, and you might understand this when I say it to you. In a lot of sub-Saharan African languages, there's a saying that was in the scripture. And they gave a different meaning for it in the scripture than what in our people's languages it means perfectly. And the saying is this: Eli Eli Lama Sabatani. Now in the scriptures they say that that the Messiah said Eli Eli Lama Sabatani.
But do
Meaning
you believe in scripture?
I believe in scripture, right?
Do you
But
believe who wrote the scripture? Who actually wrote the scripture according to your own philosophy?
so the original scripture, which they will not haven't allowed anyone to lay eyes upon, uh, was written by our forefathers. Now, these people, through lying, stealing, and killing, have got their hands on it, and what they've done is there's been a war that's been waged, an information war, a media war.
So basically, you don't believe that the scripture is accurate.
I believe that The same way that they changed a Cherokee's name, right? An Indian from America, a native person from America, an Indian. They named a person that lived in the Indus Valley a Hindu. In the same way, they make names for whoever they want. It doesn't mean that it's correct, but they do what they want because they are the synagogue of Satan. So they
That's
do
right.
their father.
But if they change the scripture, why is the same scripture calling them the synagogue of Satan?
So the Most High, just like with Job, remember Job, and he said all the sons of God were there. And he said, what do you think about my servant Job, that he's upright in a perfect man? And he said, surely if I take all thou hast given from him, he will curse thee to thy face, right? So what did the Most High do? The Most High set forth boundaries and limitations. He allowed him to do some things and not to do some things. He said, you can do this, but you can't do that. And so the Most High has allowed them to do some things, and some things he hasn't allowed them to do. And we can only figure those things out by using the spirit of discernment and having an honest and a contrite spirit. You
Can
know,
you decide? Can you discern something you haven't come across?
uh, only the Lord knows, right? But you have to first have a foundation of something. So I could have discerned this before I
Okay,
learned.
your foundation, basically your foundation and where your discernment actually began was from the scripture, right?
Uh, in the beginning, yes, right? A white supremacist. We all learned a white supremacist version of the scripture, right? A scripture that was when they translated the scripture, they put it in a way that was meant for them. So, for instance, that's the reason why we have a fake deity written throughout the scripture, the name God. That is a deity's name. That name
You're
is
right.
another word for Odin.
God, right?
Yes.
Which is for God.
Uh-huh.
Now, your name is I saw your name is before I bring our brother because he's actually waiting patiently. Your name is I can't see it again. Let me
Yeah.
check. I believe it's
Isaiah Hyde.
Isaiah Hyde.
Yes.
Now, if Isaiah, let me just give you an analogy. If Isaiah simply means the son of God, right?
Uh-huh.
Just an example.
Mm-hmm.
If Isaiah means the son of God, then I decided to translate this son of God to Igbo language. Ọ bụrụ Nwachukwu. It
Mm-hmm.
becomes Nwachukwu.
Uh-huh.
Does it mean it doesn't have the same meaning?
It can have the same meaning, it can have a similar meaning. Because if I'm using a pagan deity, right, then it's not the same meaning. If you want to put Chukwu with Odin and compare the two, they're non-comparable. You can never compare Chukwu with Thor. So they
Okay,
can never
hold it
be.
there. Hold it there. I want to bring Izuchukwu to actually, let him say his opinion. Izuchukwu,
Yeah.
please
Hi.
come in. What do you think in this conversation we are having? Do you also believe that there
Uh,
is the Bible was not real? But I like he said that the Bible was written by our ancestors, right?
Yes.
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 Now
Everything
our
about the Bible
ancestors,
is about our ancestors.
yes, they wrote it where?
Israelites.
In
Yeah.
Egypt, right?
They
After
are
Egypt.
all Israelites.
After Egypt. That it was actually they got the commandments. The commandments were given to Moses, from my understanding, on what is known as the Burning Mountain. Right there, what is known as what is that? Brandenburg Mountain, where every day when the sun sets, it looks like it's on fire. It's also known as the Mountain of the Gods. right there in Namibia, South Africa, right in that area. But it wasn't close. It wasn't like you when they left out of Egypt. It wasn't like they left from Biafra land and now they're in Yoruba land.
No, but okay, let's hold it there. Izu, come in and tell us what you think about it.
Okay. For example,
I don't know if you are
we are
hearing
doing
what he is
something.
saying. Wait,
Okay.
I don't know if you are hearing
I'm
him.
here. I'm
Okay, go on, go on.
okay. Like his name called Isaiah, right?
Yes.
Isaiah mean Yah has saved, Yah have saved, or God have saved. It depends the accent or the languages, the language that you use, but all of them they mean the same thing.
Yeah.
Like when in Igbo land, some people call Chuku, some people call Orisa, some people call Chineke. They are all of them they mean the same. It depends on the languages because whenever I talk to people, I want to teach people something. I always like to use Bible backup, the scripture backup for what I'm saying. And whatever I said, you can witness this today. Everything that I said, you can witness it in your what you see today. Like Isaiah chapter 28, verses 28:11 said that he was going to use different languages to speak to us. Why? Because Jeremiah 17:4 say, even thou should discontinue from thy heritage.
Yes.
And now we are not speaking our language. Even when they crucified Christ, it was written in John 19 in different language, Latin, Hebrew, Latin, and Greek. Then, why? Because even when he cried, some of the Israelites, they don't even understand the language when he was crying.
Mm-hmm.
He was crying. People ask questions. Is it calling Elijah? Is it calling who? The people started to ask questions. Why they don't understand? Because many Israelites have scattered abroad. Like now, we are using English to educate ourselves right now. Why are we using English? Because the prophecy in Deuteronomy chapter 28, we shall serve thy enemy, which the Lord shall send against thee. A nation which their language you don't understand. That's why we have speaking in tongue. So we have different tongues we speak. Even in, for example, let me give Nigeria. How many languages in Nigeria? Do we have about how many languages? But they mean the same. Even the Igbo tribe in Nigeria, almost all of them, if they say the same thing, they speak the same meaning, but not the same thing. I don't know if you get it.
Yes.
So you cannot use because of translation and say this is not the way it is. Because now, according to the prophecy in Zephaniah, he said that he's going to give us one language in the last days. Every nation in this world, when we start to rule the earth back, every nation will bow down to us and use the same one language. Because we'll be colonized from generation to the generation.
Izu, let me just interject you. Do you believe we are going to rule the world? Isaiah.
Of course, I believe we're going to rule the world. And what I'm saying, I agree everything that the brother is saying. But what I'm saying is, in the way they define the definitions, when you look into the details of how they define things, those people that were allowed to come with the definitions in the translations, in some of the translations, they were completely dishonest and they were liars. These were not righteous men that did this. These were the Romans. These were the people that murdered the Messiah that were now able to give you the definition for whatever they decided to define. So what I'm saying is we have to use discernment and go in and use our history that our people have been the Most High has allowed our people in Africa to be the custodian of. And they need to go in themselves and begin to piece back everything together. Because everything they're saying is not true.
All right. I want to find out from you. Don't you believe during that time of translation, You believe that after translation or during the translation, who helped them to translate it?
So there's been different things that have been said, right? So they said, oh yeah, it was certain Hebrew people and certain scholars and so on and so forth. But
Okay,
what
if wait, if our people help them during the translation, do you think they will write what is not told to them?
well, this is what I'm saying. It's when they say the way it happened, it's only their side of the story. No one can bring
Our
forth.
people were still alive that time, right?
What I'm saying is this, right? Is
Yes.
no are very significant in history. So no one can bring forth the Igbo man and tell me the name of the descendant of Eri or the descendant of Naphtali or the black men and their tribes. Remember them when it happened. The only person side of the story we're hearing is the white man's side of the story and the Arab man, who were both came into the Holy Land, into our people's land, and took us as captive and spread us throughout the world. So we're only
Okay,
hearing their side of the story.
let me interject there. The story we are hearing is the white man's story, whitewash story. But do you know why we are hearing most of the white man's story? Because they control the mainstream media, which
Yes,
was the only thing we had.
yes,
You are hearing our story today because we have access to the fourth industrial revolution.
yes.
Yeah. So that does not mean that we do not have our own story on the periphery.
No, I know we have a story, but what I'm saying is what the world understands is based upon one man's story. The world is just beginning to see not even the tip of the iceberg of the history that of what has happened in the places that the Israelites traveled through on their way back to their land, right? You can see that they don't tell you many nations that they went through. They're not mentioning much. There's much that's been left out, and these people weren't honest. And even when they translated the scripture, there's documentation that other brothers that I've seen have brought forth about how our people in Africa, when they did this thing, how our African brothers were upset when they translated the scriptures after they read how they had translated the scriptures. So these are the same people that came and brought us a white Messiah. These people are not honest with everything. So we
Now,
know Messiah was
remember in the scripture, there is no place written that there is a white Messiah. It was written there is a black Messiah. It was written, it was coded in a metaphor.
mm-hmm.
One thing I know about the scripture, they never manipulate the scripture. They did translation, right? But the prophecy of what we are that we are going to discontinue from our heritage, it has everything to do with the scripture. We not understanding the scripture because it has to come in a metaphor, which we are going to work with similitudes. There
Well,
is a
say,
saying that we used to say.
for instance, if we go and we type in and we look up uh, Esau, right?
"Hmm,
So we look up Esau, and they say, "Oh, Esau, he came out red." They use the word Edomai and so on and so forth. And then we see that when it came to King David, we see the same word used to describe King David
Not the
as
not
his
not
with
not
the
the
king.
not the
not the
same word
same
in the
word, not the
blueprint.
Yes, the
same
same
word."
word, the same.
Rudy meaning fair. Rudy meaning fair. Somebody that is fair in complexion is
Rem-
Rudy.
yes,
That
Yes,
remember
is
Noah.
different with red.
Even Noah was red. But they told you that
Noah
the hair texture made him
Noah is
albino.
like albino. You
Correct.
can call albino
Albino.
when you want to talk about Noah. Yes.
Noah was a man living with albinism, but he is red also. But the hair texture, the way it analyzed the hair texture, shows you that he's black, right?
yes, yes.
A black that doesn't have a lot of melanin
But
because
remember
of he
that
was living with albinism.
yeah, but that same type of black man can still shoot out a black man like me and you.
Exactly,
So
exactly.
because he's 100% black man. So the
Yeah.
people that so the other people is something different. Now what I'm saying is this. is that
Remember that the story of David, I know what you're talking about. David came out like a child that is not well formed, like a mature baby. He was reddish. You know, when you give birth to a child that's a premature, not immature, sorry, premature. That was the way Bible analyzed David. It was reddish because he was like a premature baby. Like my first daughter came out premature. When you give birth to a premature baby, they are always fast. They are always fast in development. They are always fast in everything. But when they come out, they're small and premature. They are like reddish, right? So that was the the way they analyzed David. That one I know about it very well. I think I actually read it when I was still in Sabbath. Yeah, come
They
in, come
call
in.
it Rudy.
Yes.
Rudy, not red. They call it Rudy.
No, don't misunderstand him, because maybe Good News can call it red. King
no
James
King
can call
James.
it Rudy, right?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
it says Ruddy, but when you look at
That's why I
to
always like to use King James, because all these new translation, there is a lot of contradictions, and they trying to hide some of the things so that people will be confused. So that's why I like to go to the King James.
I deal with the King James only, but what I'm saying is when it comes to the word ruddy, when you go to the root word in the Hebrew, the word ruddy that's used for David and that's used for Esau is the same. Now, when you look deeper and you hear what Josephus, the historian Josephus, he speaks on Jacob and Esau's birth. And he said this, and quote me, and look it up. He says, and the two were identical twins and only had one difference between the two, that Esau was rough and hairy.
Was red and hairy as
No,
garment.
not red. Not red and hairy. That his skin was rough. Remember when Jacob put on the...
Let us read this book you are talking about. Genesis 25, right? That's what you're talking about.
No, I'm speaking on the Israelite historian Josephus. Josephus, the Israelite historian, in the works of Josephus, the works of Flavius Josephus.
No, so you're not talking about the historical the scriptural text.
Yes, I am talking about the historical
Can we
text.
read it? Can we read that
Yes, read it, brother.
scriptural text?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Let me open it and read it so that we will understand it better, because I think it is better to come out from the horse's mouth so that we will actually have basis in our argument. It is the book of Genesis 25, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
there is some before you go to Genesis 25, there is something that he mentioned, so we can clear it out, the two of them the same time. There is something two of you are discussing about the first one and the second one. We can clear both of them the same time. What happened in the beginning? Because God already, the Most High already said what will happen before two of them were born. And after that, what happened? What happened is that Esau sold his birthright. So after that, Jacob became the first.
Oh yeah, you're right. He traded his birthright with pottage, red pottage.
Yes. Yeah.
So let me read the book of Genesis 25. Let me start from 23. It says, "And the Lord said unto her, two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people." Did you hear that? Two manner of people.
I agree.
Two different nations, two manner of people. They are not the same. Now, two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels, and the one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger. And when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. 25. says. That's what we're looking for. And the first came out red, R-E-D, red, all over like an hairy garment. Hairy garment.
That hairy garment.
When we talk about hairy garment, it is talking about straight hair. Hairy garment.
No. Remember, go to the part where Jacob gets the blessing. When he goes to his mother comes to him, he says, "Go and get me the skin of the calf or the goat." And Jacob put those on his arms so that when he went to his father to get the blessing, he would feel like Esau, so that he would feel rough.
Now,
what happened?
Huh?
Before that, what happened in verses 21 and 22?
Should I read verses 21 and 22?
21 and 22.
Okay, let me start it from 21. Now, and Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife. Isaac entreated the Lord for his wife because she was barren, and the Lord was entreated of him, and Rebekah his wife conceived. And the children struggled together within her, and she said, "If it be so, why am I thus?" And she went to inquire of the Lord. And the Lord said unto her, "Two nations are in thy womb, and two manner of people shall be separated from thy bowels. And one people shall be stronger than the other people, and the elder shall serve the younger." And verse 24, and when her days to be delivered were fulfilled, behold, there were twins in her womb. 25, and the first came out red, all over like an hairy garment, and they called his name Esau.
Okay, now right there.
What is the meaning of Esau? Waste. Waste. He was created for waste. Waste.
Like
he was created for waste. And why Bible mentioned the first one red? This is where you can hear the first color in the Bible, because everybody on the earth, they are all black. So this is the first nation of Edomites, which we call today white people. We was born.
I disagree.
And this is the prophecy from the Genesis that have to fulfill, so that the serpent, the purpose of the curse from the serpent have to fulfill. So this is like when they are in the stomach, they are struggling together. There is war in heaven. They are fighting inside the stomach.
Yes, because
this explanation was even explained when Ezra was asking questions about this in the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 6. He explained all the meaning of all these things. So the scripture has to explain itself.
But
so that we cannot use our private interpretation to interpret the scripture.
Now,
let me
say one thing, brother. Let me make it easy before you come in. Let me make it easy. What is the meaning of Esau?
So Esau, they say the meaning means red and hairy, or red, right?
Okay. Now let me read verse 26. Let me read verse 26.
Brother, can I say one thing, brother? Because he said something that I want to respond to, and I haven't took notes.
Come in. Go for it.
So the scripture said, like a hairy garment.
Yes.
No one can show me a hairy garment that's white.
No,
right? No, one can show me a hairy garment that's white that said it's to be red.
Okay. Do you know that I wish I know in Genesis where it talked about Noah and how Noah was red, and it made reference of Noah's head texture, the texture of the hair.
That's
it
the book
made
of
reference.
That's
the same way it made reference of the texture of the hair of Christ.
Yeah. Well, so
Revelation.
The verse that speaks about Noah being an albino or white is in the book of Enoch, not in the not in Genesis, but in the book of Enoch. And
I
so
think I believe maybe yes. I think I read it in the book of Enoch. Maybe
yeah,
I read it in the book of Enoch, but I think I also came across it because I didn't finish the book of Enoch. I didn't finish it because I became busy. I left it behind.
yeah, it was in the book of Enoch. They talk about when he opened his eyes, it lit up the room like the sun, and several other things about the birth.
I
They thought
think
he was
it's also in the book of Genesis.
no, it's not in Genesis.
It's
Not in
not.
Genesis. Mm-mm. But what I'm saying is this: so you have Esau is born, and Jacob is born. Now the person that the Romans themselves say is the leading authority on Israelite and Jew antiquity, the leading historian, Flavius Josephus, in his writings, known as the writings of Flavius Josephus, we can all look it up. This guy is one of the guys that was one of the translators of scriptures, right?
You
Uh,
say his name is what?
his name is Flavius Josephus.
I think you need to spell it out for me, but let's go. I think I
Okay.
will take
It,
your phone number. I will
it,
need to look it up.
it's
Just
Flavious.
for me. Hold on for me. Let me find a paper to write it down. Just hold on for me. We are coming back to because don't forget Esau was named Edomite.
Uh-huh.
Edomite. So
Uh-huh.
we are going to actually see what Edomite is. Who are the Edomites of today?
Yeah.
Before we proceed.
Yes.
So spell that thing you said. SLA.
No, F as in Frank,
Okay.
LA, V
Okay.
as in Victor, IUS, now a space, in
Okay.
Joseph, and
So
then
it's FLAUS.
FLAVIUS,
U
excuse me.
or
Flavius.
VIUS.
Yeah, Flavius.
Okay, Flavius.
Uh-huh. And then Josephus.
Josephus, which is JOSEPHUS.
US. Uh-huh.
Josephus.
Uh-huh.
Josephus. Yeah. All right. I'm going to actually do my own research on this guy that you gave me his name.
He
But
fought in the war with Rome, against Rome. He fought in that war, and then he was taken captive, and he wrote the history of the war and also of biblical antiquity. And he gave way more information than what we've been given on a lot of different topics. He gave clarity on a lot of different topics in his writing.
does it has a book, right?
Yes, it's a big book.
A big book. Did you read it?
Yes,
Did you finish it?
yes.
All right. How old is the book?
The book is old from those times.
All right. Okay. Do you know the meaning of Edomite?
Yes, I know the meaning of Edomite.
Who are the Edomites today?
Okay, if you go on your phone real quick, go on Google. Now, bear with
Okay.
me. Bear
I
with me.
sent you Bible dictionary in your
Go
phone.
on.
Classic Bible dictionary.
Go on
Okay.
Google.
Let's
It
go
was
to.
written 1858.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Hold on for me. Hold on for me. Hold on for me. I have. There is a book written about the Edomite. I came
Yeah.
across such book.
What I want to take you to is an original history base, not
Okay.
something that's only coming out of the mouth of white people,
So what
right?
is the source?
So I'm gonna give you a source, and it's gonna give you a reference as well, right? In an
Okay.
original history base, where I base my school of thought on this thing. Now, it wasn't my original thought. I originally thought that it was the white man as well, but through
So
studying,
Philos Josephus is a black guy.
yes, but they made him as a white image if you look up the picture of him.
The same way they did to King James.
Yes, in the same way they did to the Messiah, right? And to all the prophets and Samson.
That okay, okay.
So
Um, I am going to make a research for this, but
But now this thing
Edom.
on who the Edomites are, I'm going to show you something. And
Okay.
I'm going to show you something. That's why I'm asking. It's going to answer you directly. Now watch this. If you go on Google and you
Okay.
type in, because I was seeing the violence of these people in Nigeria. I was seeing the savagery of the stuff that was happening, and something spoke to my spirit. And it told me, it said, look up these people. There is something with them. So I looked these people up, and then I started typing keywords and put them together. And I typed in Fulani
Okay.
space,
Fulani.
and then put Edomite,
Okay. After Fulani, you
or
put
put no
Edomite.
put Fulani space Esau.
Yes.
And there should be a website that pops up that's gonna say,
Fulani space Esau.
uh-huh.
Let's go with this your conspiracy theory. Okay, let's go with your
Um,
theory.
So
hold,
now
hold,
hold on one
hold
second. Let
on.
me finish,
I
brother.
want to use something in the Bible.
Let me
The
finish real quick,
scripture
brother.
said that Esau is ruling the world. The Fulani is it Fulani is ruling the world right now?
The answer is no.
So world has multiple definitions. You have the sports world, you have the Israelite world, right? You have world means different spheres of influence. Like I can tell somebody, hey, you and I live in different worlds. We live in the same planet.
Uh,
Right? So we're using the
Yes.
but there is something that we don't need to make this to prolong. The question is, who is ruling the world right now?
Well, what I'm saying is, it was not talking about the whole world. It was talking about the world of Jacob, the Israelite world. That's what world it was talking
Oh,
about.
who
Just
is
like
ruling the Israelite world?
Wait,
just like
hold on. My question, who is ruling this world right now we are living? That is my question.
yeah. So the person that's ruling the whole world, right, is it's obvious.
Yeah,
We all know that
yes.
answer. You know that I know that answer. It's the white man. But it wasn't talking about who. It wasn't talking
So
about.
if
In
you
that,
if
let me
hold on,
let
I'm
me
coming.
let me
If the
respond.
white
I'm
man
trying to
is
delve
ruling
into
the
something.
world
You have to
right now,
allow me a couple seconds to respond, brother, and I'll make it clear my position.
Okay,
When it
okay.
says when it says
Let him come in. Make it brief. Make it brief
yes,
because we
brother.
don't have much time.
Yes,
Make
brother.
it brief.
So right there in the scripture, when it's talking about Esau is the end of the world, this is the father Isaac giving the blessing to the two sons. This blessing is not regarding every people and everybody in the world. This blessing was talking about what was going to be between Jacob and Esau. What was Jacob's blessing and what was Esau's blessing? So when it tells you, when it's telling Jacob, Esau is the end of the world in Second Ezra, and Jacob is the beginning there that following, it's telling you that once you see Esau, right there when you go back to the blessing in the book of Genesis that Esau was given, it tells him, it says, and you will serve your brother, the younger brother. But when thou come to reign, thou will break the yoke of Jacob from off thy neck, right? So that's telling you that when you see Esau come to reign, your time of reigning is done. He's not going to go back to the yoke of you, which was the servant of the Most High. He's not going to go back. He's gonna rule that whole time, and it's going to be a long time. And until he's done, his time is done. It's not going to be your forever time. So those people that the Romans have continually used against our people, and it's in their history. If you ask them, they'll admit it because Fulani's here in America that I've spoke to. And I told him, I said, I know who your forefather is. He said, who? I said, your father is Esau. Your closer forefather was the descendant of Esau. His name was Rama, the son of Esau. And from Rama came the other tribe of the Fulanis and so on and so forth. Now, if you
You
look it
see
up right,
now, I think I know where you are going. I have come across where you are going. Remember that the children of Ishmael, the daughters of Ishmael, got married to the children of Esau. So they
yeah,
had a marital relationship. So I don't know if it is where you are confusing the historical, I don't know if it is where you are actually off ramping,
no.
because
So
I know there is a relationship between Ishmael
Ishmael,
and the. Esau.
Uh-huh.
Ishmael is Fulani. Fulani is more connected to Ishmael,
Well, in their history, according to
the wild
according to
man.
Wazirin, according to Wazirin Sheikh Junaid, who was the leading authority on Sokoto history, he said that descend from Esau, Esau's son Rama, and then he goes further into their history on the different Fulani tribes and who their forefathers were.
Okay, let
can
me
you
bring.
please
Yeah,
can you please Duke? Who is Duke today?
A duke?
who is Duke?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
He made a Esau had dukes, different dukes, but that's a translated word. That's not in African people's
Okay.
language.
The prince that ruling in England today, what is his name?
Duke. That's in their language. That's Duke is the English
That
word.
is Duke.
That's in their language.
So if English people, which are the because
What I'm saying is, if
so
Duke,
where is the lineage? Can you please Google the lineage of Rome? So who is the forefather of the Rome? He's going to tell us now. The forefather is the same Esau.
You know what we
Where
are
did
going to
Esau
do.
live? Hold on. Esau is living in Cocos Mountain. How come the Fulani is living in Cocos Mountain?
Esau wasn't living in the Caucasus Mountain. All you have to do is go back to the blessing with Isaac.
Cocos
And in
Mountain.
the blessing of Isaac, of his father, he told Esau that you will live in the fatness of the earth. You're going to live in a place where there is a lot of
Who is
natural
living in
resources.
the fatness of the earth, the best place in the world?
Yeah,
Esau.
Africa. Africa lives in the fatness
So
of the
who
earth.
come to kill and to steal and to destroy? Esau.
But they're
Esau
not
is
taken
still
to
stealing
slavery.
till today.
But they're
Esau
not
is
working
stealing
with the white.
everything from every land today.
Did the
So
Fulani not work
okay,
with the white
according
man
to
to
your
take it to
philosophy,
slavery?
who are the white man in the Bible?
The white man, you have the Romans, and then you had the people that some of them had interbred with the
Oh,
Edomites
but
because
we
they
have the
conquered.
Romans. Who gave
Yeah,
birth to the
Romans.
What
Romans?
I'm telling you is the Romans were descendants of Japheth. The Romans interbred with some of the Edomites who they had conquered Edom, and they interbred with some of them. But the Romans didn't now become the Edomites. No,
But
Esau's lineage
how come,
preserved.
Bible
Izu,
say to you,
Izu, I think we have to end this program here. I don't have much time. What we are going to do, I want him, brother Isaac,
Yes.
I want you to go and get ready. Go and do your research. Get ready, brother Izuchuku. Go and prepare yourself. I know you always prepared, though. Let's actually make this a program of 2 hours. We choose I will organize the date where we're going to come in, and we will be able to actually bring all these things out, and we will have a lot of argument, because through I love when we are having argument, disagreeing to agree. It will enable us to actually learn further and enable our people, because there are people who are actually watching us who is also using their critical thoughts to analyze what we are saying. Some people that are watching us, they are actually doing their research while they are watching us. So I want us to get prepared and schedule this topic for another day. I will also look up this. You say his name is Phalos Josephus.
Yes.
Going to look him up, so that I want you also, brother Isaac, the brother Isaiah. Make
Yes.
sure you do your findings around who is Esau, who is Edomite, where are they today, because so that when we come in, we will have a conclusive report instead of going everywhere. Because right now, even myself, I am quite tired. I've been here for almost 3 hours. I actually expected to have this podcast for like 1 hour, but I've been here for almost 3 hours. And then my meeting that was on my ears it is already ended. I didn't even contribute a lot, but I'm happy I was listening while also I was multitasking. So what we are going to do right now, it is to reschedule. Maybe we're gonna make it. We have to make it to be which date? Which when do you think you're going to have be free? Hmm?
Okay, brother. How should I give you my contact information?
I think you have mine on the screen. Just copy it out, edit on WhatsApp.
Let me just give you my phone number real quick because I don't have
All
WhatsApp.
right. If you don't mind making it public, it's fine. You can
It
call it.
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay. Plus
Call
one
ID. So it's 818
eight.
818
Okay.
564
564
2596.
2596. All right. Brother Isaiah, appreciate you joining us today.
Thanks for
And
having me.
brother Izu, we didn't give him a lot of chance, brother Izu, to speak, but I gave you a more chance so that I will understand your philosophy and your source. But I will ask you more of your source when you actually, return. What time will you actually want to have this program? Because we can even make it
Well, I'm off
maybe Saturday evening. Saturday evening.
Saturday. Actually, I have work this
Or
Saturday,
tomorrow
but
evening.
I can do Sunday.
Huh?
I work
Sunday.
yeah, I work Saturday, but I'm free Sunday, Monday, Tuesday,
Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. Okay,
anytime.
I will actually, brother Izu, what date, which day do you think is also okay for you? So that let me work within my own schedule.
Any dates available,
All right.
anytime.
All right. Okay, any day. You are saying Sunday, right?
Yes.
Okay, let us make it on Sunday, but Sunday is gonna be a bit earlier for you, right? We have to maybe we'll schedule it for Sunday 5 o'clock
Okay.
or Sunday 4 o'clock. But I will communicate with you guys actually
Okay.
before we come. All right, thank you for
Okay,
coming.
brother.
I appreciate
Much love,
your
brothers.
thoughts.
All praises to the Most High. Free Namdi
Thank
kindness.
you.
Away.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Peace
Peace.
to the
Peace.
house of Israel. So great and wonderful people of Biafra, lovers of freedom all over the world. Thank you for actually listening. We've been here for a very long time, but at least we did something. I know it is a very long program. I didn't intend to have this long program. actually wanted to, analyze Nsibidi and the ancient writings of the original Hebrew. So because of I have the ancient writings of the original Hebrews, and I saw the Nsibidi, I started looking it up and understanding. When you see the Nsibidi I showed you, it is labeled Nsibidi. That's the one I showed you. So understanding what it means in the ancient Hebrew, in the discontinued books of Moses, which is it has a lot of magical elements there. So that is exactly the reason why it is actually the source where I contextualize the Nsibidi, which our people were using to communicate. That is the same Nsibidi it was written on. The same Nsibidi it was written on to show you that we have every connection with the house of Jacob. Believe it or not, that is the truth. Now we are coming back. I am still calling on all these Igbo history tellers to come forward to actually challenge what we are doing, to come forward, regardless of who. Those who knows those who Igbo history tellers, those who even call the name of God Oga, Tell them that, we are bringing it in a different dimension so that we will rub mind together. If they want to call it a debate, so be it. I am ready to debate with anybody. If you are willing, you come in. There is nothing shameful about it. We debate. You see how we disagree to agree. I give you time, you speak your mind, then we disagree to agree. But until we meet again, stay safe, stay blessed. Izu, I don't know if you have anything to say before you go.
Only thing that I have to say to our people, no matter what we discuss, go and do your research. And when you are doing research, trying to find ancient books, not only what people put in the Google, but also go and find ancient books to read. Because if you want to hide anything from the black man, put it in the book. That's what the white man said.
That's right.
Peace be,
Peace.
my brothers and sisters.
Peace, brother. Shalom.